When wintry lands warm, a war comes to the east, and Concordia the cold calls all to its lands. Then many make their way to the march of the west, with arms and with armor, or arrows to shoot, with hatchets to hurl and harry the foe, or songs to inspire their soldiers of choice. These great hosts gather on the green fields, around bright banners, each bearing a blaze, signs of each side, whose soldiers will fight and hack, axe upon helm, halberd upon sword and shield. 2 roses, red and white, vie on these verdant fields. Each year 2 factions fight, each year one rose must yield. To this war every year an innkeeper comes, to bring feast for the fighters and feed them well. He is called by his kin Jaji, but more normally known by the name Jaji. He has made magnificent meals of meat and game, fish seethed in a sauce or in soup so fine, bread freshly baked and barley well cooked. For nobles without number, knights of great fame, and countless king he has cooked these meals, welcoming all quite well, whether they are many or few. Though famous men he feeds, and toils for pure and true, ne'er slights he souls in need, he tends the humblest too. As iron clashes ended 1 year of this war, winds began to whistle and whirl through the fields. These terrible torrents tore through the camps and grabbed at loose garb, gusted with force. Peerless Jaji and his partners packed up with care. To intended chairs and tables, took down therein, flung away firewood, folded up aprons, put pots in their proper place for travel. At last was all was loaded but their least possession, the personal tent of the pier. But patient Jaji only slept there, a doughty little dome, and worn through years of care, wind gripped this humble home and hurled it high in air. Tumbling and turning, the tent flew upward. It arced through the air, then to the earth it dropped. It bounced and then bounded above even the trees, diving down, then up like a desert weed. The passing smith peered at it, his apprentice by his side. He pointed and laughed loudly. "Look at that!" he cried. "That house is hurtling high in the air. I bet its stakes broke and were badly formed. But if we had struck the stakes, instead they would have stuck like glue." 4 players passing by, they saw the smith's ado. For moments wondered why, until they saw it too. Readily the bards rushed to rescue the tent, each of them a deft artist of another sort. One was a lovely lady with a lilting voice. She caught the cord that hung from the crown of the tent. Then the poet of the party pulled down the dome. Dexterously their dancer dragged out one side, and the teller of tall yarns, the tent he stopped from floating and fluttering and flapping like the wing of a bat. They folded it fast in thirds. They flung the tent out flat to ground this graceless bird. On each side they sat. Generous Jaji rode up with a jangle of reins. He peered at the players who pinned the tent and gave a great laugh, grinned as he spoke. "My tiny tent took off like a shot. It flew out fast and far, but you found it for me. I've had this humble home for many years. For bringing it back, I bid you accept this thing. Next year you'll be my guests, and any bards you bring, I'll host your happy jests. Please tell your tales and sing." To the players he promised a place to perform, to sing songs, sad or merry, or recite poetry, to tell stories of strange places and striking deeds. On the next year, gentle Jaji journeyed to war. He turned a tent into a temporary inn and welcomed all worldsmiths with wide-stretched arms. Fine food he offered to performers all. When the feasting was finished and full were all bellies, Jaji called joyfully out and enjoined a poet to share the tale of the tent that soared in verse from voice so fair. which praise this peerless lord, that one beyond compare.